Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my kitchen for another recipe video. I'm Derek from Simnet Nutrition, and today I'm so excited to share with you guys this amazing vegan-friendly minestrone soup. So with the cold weather upon us, I am craving mad soups. So I decided I had to make one for myself. You guys have seen in my past videos, I've been using a little bit of canned soup, a little bit of fresh veg, but you know what? I decided I need to make something from scratch. So I'm gonna show you how to make this every step of the way. If you guys are intimidated, you're like, I've never made a soup before, how the heck? Don't worry, I will walk you through it. So it's not like a 10-minute meal or anything. A soup is gonna take you the better part of an hour, probably 45 or 50 minutes to make from start to finish, but it is so worth it. It does make about 4 to 5 big servings. Great for meal prepping, lots of protein in it from the protein pasta and the beans that are in here. So good, so hearty, you guys are gonna love it. So the inspiration for this dish actually came from me looking at some cans of soup at the store. So this is often where I get ideas for different flavors to combine and different recipes. And yeah, I was looking at the back of some of these soups and I was like, hey, I can make this probably better and cheaper than these guys, so I'm definitely gonna try it. So here we are. So I'll definitely put the recipe in the description box down below, like I always try and do for you guys. So let's get right into this. I'll show you guys all the ingredients first, but we will be going over each ingredient individually as we put them in. So let's just get right into it. We're gonna start by chopping and sauteing some veggies. So out of the veggies that we're chopping up, the carrot is definitely gonna take the longest, and then the onion next. So I'm gonna chop those two up first. So you want about 1 cup of chopped carrots. That was about 3 medium-sized carrots. And then half an onion or so, which is just over a half a cup. So before I put the veggies in, I am gonna add a little bit of olive oil. You guys know I don't usually cook with this, but I do find for this recipe, it definitely helps the stuff from sticking to the bottom. So just a teaspoon of olive oil. So next, I'm actually not going to add the other veggies that I'm going to add right now. I'm going to add those in just 2 seconds. But first, I'm going to open up this can of Italian crushed tomatoes because I'm going to be adding this as I saute the veggies. This is a great way to get some more flavor in there, but also just to help saute the veggies, because we're not actually trying to brown them or anything like that. We're not making a stir fry. We're just trying to cook the veggies, so we're soften them, but also impart some flavor into it, which is why we're gonna be adding some spices to this as well. But yeah, the crushed tomatoes, when you saute it in this, it just creates such a nice flavor. And we will be using this entire can of crushed tomatoes. So this is one of these big cans, and it's actually the same amount as 2 of those smaller cans. So whatever works better for you, but yeah, 800 milliliters, 28 fluid ounces of crushed tomatoes. So for now, we're just gonna add a few spoonfuls of this to the sauteing veggies. So next, I'm just gonna chop up some celery. And we want a cup of celery as well. I made this really easy, just a cup of this, tablespoon here, there, whatever. We're definitely not baking. This is a really loose recipe. And I actually learned a little bit about minestrone soup when I was, kind of creating this recipe, because I was curious. I'm always afraid to label something that I make, something, like minestrone soup. But there is actually no official recipe for minestrone soup. And it actually has some really rich history that goes back to way back when the Romans were conquering Italy. And that's actually when minestrone soup became popular, because with that actually came a whole bunch of new vegetables that the Italians were able to cook with. And yeah, they started to throw them in soups and ended up making minestrone soup. So traditionally it is a vegan-friendly soup. It always has lots of vegetables in it. It has a light tomato base, and then usually it has some pasta, rice, or beans or something like that thrown in as well, which yeah, we're definitely throwing in some of those. And another thing I actually learned was that it was considered a peasant food, or peasant soup as they called it, because they would make this soup out of all the vegetable scraps. So that's why there's no real recipe. You can just throw in anything that you want. So don't feel stuck to this exact recipe, or if you don't have, one of these veggies, or you have some other ones you want to cook up, yeah, just experiment, throw them in there. Let's just make sure this is a cup, because when I did test this recipe, a cup of everything worked out pretty good. So 1 cup of celery. And then next, I'm just gonna add these 2 big cloves of garlic. Feel free to add more or less, whatever you like. but fresh garlic in here is key. You guys know I usually use garlic powder and onion powder, which is also going in here. You can't leave out the twin pillars, but yeah, fresh garlic has to go in here. If you can get the dang skin off. There we go. So I know a lot of people like to add garlic with their onions, like when they start sauteing stuff, but I prefer my garlic to be a little bit fresher in my recipes. So that's why I'm not adding it here until just near the end of the sauteing. So there's 2 big cloves of chopped garlic. And if the veggies start drying out, you feel like you need some more liquid, just add a few more spoonfuls of the crushed tomatoes. It's all going in there anyways. So next we're gonna add a whole bunch of spices. So don't be intimidated if you don't have like all of these, or if you've never seen some of them before or whatever. Just like use what you have. It's gonna be good regardless, but you might wanna consider getting some of these because they are good for many other dishes and the flavors are amazing. And there's also like health benefits to all of these, so they're all good for you. So we're actually gonna add these spices right now while everything's still sauteing because it brings out so many nice flavors in the spices and also helps to flavor the veggies that are sauteing. That's what we want. And we'll just add a teaspoon of each of these just to make it easy. So 1 teaspoon of fennel, a teaspoon of cumin seed. So I don't cook with these like seeds a lot, like the cumin seed here or the fennel, but in soups, they're actually like so good because they soften up really nicely. And then you get little, bursts of flavor here and there. So yeah, really good. Savory. So I don't even know what this spice is. It smells good and it works with this. And it was in the back of the cupboard, so gotta use it up. Oregano. So because this is like a tomato soup base or tomato base, oregano goes really, really well with it. And then of course, gotta have the twin pillars in there. Got some garlic powder and onion powder. And some black pepper. I feel like black pepper is kind of like overlooked as a spice. Like it's sort of just, used as like an afterthought. Oh, a little salt and pepper on there. But if you like cook with it, man, it is like some good flavorful stuff. So this is going right into the pot. So it's about 30 seconds after this point at which people start coming in the kitchen and asking, what the heck are you cooking and when can I eat it? Smells so good. All right, so we'll let that saute for another 5 minutes or so. Now is the time to add the broth. So I don't know if you guys know how to make your own broth, but I don't really. So I definitely use like store-bought broths. And I did try this recipe with like a low sodium veggie broth the first time I made it, and it was good, but it definitely like lacked quite a bit of flavor and salt, and I ended up just like adding salt to it in the end. So then I decided to try it with the old trusty Better Than Bouillon soup base mix, and it was really, really good. So that's how I'm gonna be making it here today. You can also use these like little cubes, like the bouillon cubes work as well, but I mean, might as well use this. This is like better than bouillon. So how I actually make the broth is by boiling a whole bunch of water. Actually like as much water as the kettle will hold, and that's 1.7 liters in this case. So the reason why I use hot water is just because it's gonna help the Better Than Bouillon soup mix to dissolve into the water, but it's also gonna help the whole soup to boil quicker. So careful because you're dealing with really hot water, but it's gonna cut down the time a little bit so you don't have to wait for like all this cold water to come to a boil. So I'm just following the instructions on the back of the container here as far as like, the concentrations to use. So it asks for 1 tablespoon of soup mix for every liter of water. So we're gonna be adding 2 of these in total to 2 liters of water. So what I actually like to do is just add a little bit of the broth at first. And I know this sounds fancy, but this is actually deglazing the pan. So it gets all of the little like, kind of burned and really cooked stuff that's stuck on the bottom off, and incorporates that into the soup. There's lots of flavor in there. Now you guys know what deglazing is. It sounds so fancy. Beautiful. And then after you've added all the broth, you want to add whatever's left of the canned tomatoes. So once you get all the liquid in there, you want to bring it up to a boil and then simmer it for about 10 minutes before we add the next few ingredients. So there's only a couple things left, so we'll get those ready while that's simmering away. So because pasta is fairly traditional to put in minestrone, and I love pasta in my soups, I'm definitely going to be adding some, but I'm going to up the protein, and rather than just adding, you know, regular like wheat pasta or rice pasta or something like that, I'm going to be adding this chickpea pasta. Recently I heard people call this pulse pasta, and I thought that was so cool because it rolls off the tongue so nicely. Pulse pasta. I'm going to start using that. So 2 cups of pulse pasta, or 3 cups if you want more. There's definitely enough broth to add some extra pasta to this. If it would just come out of the box. What's going on here? I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love this like high protein pasta. Ever since it came onto the market, I have been hooked. I don't eat it like all the time, you know, just like a few times a week, but it's so convenient to have, and it's so concentrated in protein, which is just amazing. So yeah, in a few minutes I'll be adding this, and also this can of white cannelli beans. So you could throw any bean you want in there really, but the white beans go really nicely in here. They look really good too. What the heck, why is this so... But I am gonna strain this first. I'm not a big fan of bean water, unless it's coffee. And you just want to cook this for long enough for the pasta to cook. So this is about 7-8 minutes and the pasta will be done and the soup's ready. And then I almost forgot to add the Brussels sprouts. So you don't have to add this. I've just like went in the back of the fridge, got some stuff that needed to be eaten up. And the nice thing about Brussels sprouts is when you slice them up really thin like this, they don't take very long at all to cook. Okay, last ingredient for sure this time. I keep looking at my recipe, I'm like, oh no, one more thing. Just some frozen peas. So everything's pretty much done. The pasta is done cooking and everything like that. I'm gonna throw in 1 cup of frozen peas, and it's gonna kind of help cool this off so that the pasta like stops cooking, because as you guys know, you don't want to overcook the pulse pasta too much. So here we go, take it off the heat. Oh wow, it's looking so good. I love soups that look like this. It just like reminds me of like edible confetti or something like that. It's so good. All right, so the soup is all done, and I realized I probably didn't need to use such a big soup pot here, but we actually just got this today. We were pretty stoked to find it. We needed a new one, and yeah, it turns out we can make a lot of soup in here. So I'm just gonna ladle it out here and serve it up. All right, so it's all plated up, ready to go. It smells amazing in here. I'm ready to taste this and let you guys know how it is. So yeah, I went ahead and toasted a bit of bread to have with this as well. That's kind of traditionally had with it too, so that's gonna be a nice addition. But yeah, let me just get right into it here. You guys thought I was gonna burn myself, didn't you? But no, I'm learning. Wow. So I am proud of myself for this one. You guys know, if you follow along, I quite often try and make soups and they end up just being like too thick. They end up being stews or just like a mushy stir fry or something, but this is legit soup and it's so good. I'm gonna have a little soggy bread with it. Mmm. Oh God. The toast with a little bit of the broth. Mmm. Wow. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed learning this recipe. Now you know how to make a minestrone soup. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I know sometimes these aren't as exciting as my full day of eating vlogs, but it's really nice for me to be able to like dive deep into like a really good recipe and share it with you guys. So I'm so happy to be doing this. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Definitely hit the like button. You know, it helps me out in the algorithm. Subscribe so you can see more. And if you do make this, tag me on Instagram. You guys know I love seeing your creations when you use my recipes, and I'll try and repost it. I will see you guys soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.